Hi, and welcome back to another episode of the History of Fan Anime. I'm your host, William Tao, and in today's episode, another one of those great episodes you always like, is another interview. And today's I'm going to interview my friend Richard, who's been a long time, it's a long time friend that sort of got in really early when I just started, my getting into anime and that kind of stuff, she's get into the various different stories of that. But again, before I begin, I want to remind people to go down below, click like, click subscribe. Definitely, even just doing something simple as hitting like, really does help the YouTube algorithm. Again, now my friend Richard here, okay, I'll just warn you in advance, okay. He is, very knowledgeable and resourceful. He very touches on a lot of different topics and that kind of stuff, and is knowledgeable of a whole bunch of different fields, including computer tech, and he has a lot of experiences in different things. He has very broad range of views and very interesting, some really far ideas and theories and concepts, which a lot of people don't think about. So he's a really good person to talk about different ideas and bounce ideas off of. But there's one thing that I'll tell you, warn you right away. He's not afraid to give his opinion, and he doesn't pull punches. Okay, so if you want, if he believes in something, or likes to talk about something, has a view on particular something, he won't hide or candy coated in any way. So I'm gonna have to be a little interesting because again, this is YouTube, so I may actually have to make a special version for the Patreon just because some of his the things are really riveting, as it were, and might be even too hot for YouTube. So you were warned. All right. So without further delay, let's get into the interview with Richard. Okay, and one quick announcement. I have just recently made my first audiobook now available. It's not available on Audible or Amazon quite yet because of the fact that actually it doesn't support TTS services. So actually, I have to get pay a live person to actually do it. But it is now available. I've got it on my Patreon page right now. So the link is below. You can go there and you can get it there. If you are already a Patreon member, so if you signed up for any of the tiers, even the $3 Buy Me a Coke tier, you will get that automatically, and you can download that straight into there. It's an audiobook, so you can basically download it into your phone, it's just an MP3 file, right? So you can just put it into your iTunes or into your playlist there, and you can listen to it. Because obviously, some guys are just too lazy to pick up, a paper and handbound book, and obviously try to make it as cheap as possible, making it an ebook. So for those people who are even too lazy to read it on their tablet or the screen or whatever, now I've got a version that's on audio. Okay, so you can put it into your little MP3 stick. You can stick it in your car. You can listen to it that way. Well, I really like to listen to it. You're too lazy to read, no problem. We got TTS to read it for you. Okay, so again, go to the link is below. You can go to the Patreon and get that. If you want to subscribe now to your Patreon, that will show up on your list of things to get. Okay, so again, anything to help out the channel, do so, and thanks a lot.
You already covered what it was like to live. You covered what you ate.
Mm-hmm.
So if you had a choice of transportation and you had to get yourself around, what kind of vehicle from anime would you drive? Would you get a giant robot? Would you ride Nausicaa's glider? Would you drive Kaneda's bike? Would you get into some weird, strange tank, spider crawling vehicle? What vehicle would you be using to get around?
Okay, so Richard's question is, what would be my favorite mode of transportation? And as an early animation fan, you'd probably say like Akira's bike is just it's so cool and everything. But I've always, growing up in the '80s, I've always idolized, you know, super whatever it happens to be. So, in the era of the supercar, right? I'd always imagine like Knight Rider or something like that. Super pursuit mode and all the extra gadgets like a James Bond car would have. Uh, you know, things like that would always. And of course, the onboard computer is always nice. Um, I always thought it was also, I've always also enjoyed the show like Airwolf, the super copter, you know, basically, Sonic, Sonic capable helicopter with all the armaments, that kind of stuff. Always think kind of neat. Um, if I had to combine the two, you could probably get something like Automan. He could do both, and so that's always it. But let's say with the realm of anime here, um, although Akira's bike would be probably the coolest of that sort of nature, though it's not that interesting in itself, and in terms of like what are the capabilities it has other than just being a cool bike. If I had to go with the bicycles though, in that sort of aspect, I would probably prefer the Mosquito ride armor, because at least that's an actual protective suit. Actually, it has motorcycle capabilities as well as air pack, jetpack type of capabilities as well. So I mean that would be probably cooler. So I think that would be really neat. And if I had to pick an attachment, I think I like Lancer's one with the sword. That'd be kind of an interesting kind of a different sort of thing. So I think I'd probably go with the Mosquito ride armor.
Getting back to your lifestyle, okay, if you had to, and you didn't wear any other clothes, and every day you had to wear the same clothes, but it was anime inspired, what piece of clothing would you wear from which anime version? If you had to live your rest of your life cosplaying,
Interesting.
and you had to wear one type of thing, what would it be from which character?
Richard's question is basically, if you had a favorite cosplay costume, would that be something you would wear, like if that was the only thing you had to wear, what would it be, right? So if you had to cosplay as something, then what would that be, and you'd have to wear that all the time. Interesting question. I mean, let's just take a real anime example. I mean, if you were like you from like Street Fighter, or like Ranma from Ranma and a Half, I mean, you literally wore the same thing like every day anyway, really, right? I mean, did Ranma have any much change of clothes other than his red top and his black pants, or theoretically yoga in the same way? Did he ever have anything different to wear? He's always dressed up in the kung fu gi, like everywhere he goes, whether it's a Street Fighter movie, whether it's Street Fighter 2V, whatever. That's all he wore, for God's sakes. So, yeah, I mean, you could be like that, but I mean, that'd be pretty boring. I mean, if I had to pick something, I mean, it would be something really like fancy and outlandish and that kind of stuff. Now, of course, no. If I had to make a choice, let's say I had to go to something flashy, like the Grammys or something like that, and you had to be like really, make a point and kind of be really showy. I'd love to wear an actual Sagittarius armor from Saint Seiya. Because I can imagine if you'd like walk into a ballroom with that, and like all the gold that's on the arm would just be like shiny and bright, and like you'd like stick out like a crowd. Of course, it'd be incredibly awkward to walk around with that thing, but that'd be really cool. I mean, really, the only reason you'd wear something like that is like that's like the Lady Gaga thing, the meat dress thing, right? You wear that so they just sort of to show off anything. But to go to to the actual aspect of the question, what kind of thing would you wear? Well, you could pick something really average and normal, but that'd be pretty boring. So I mean, I think I would want to pick something that would give me something, at least something out of it. I get something out of it, right? So the first thing I would probably think about was like Kusanagi's holographic armor, that you have in Ghost in the Shell, because then you can like sneak around and you'd blend in with the background and be the whole sort of kind of like matrixy sort of thing, and that'd be kind of cool. Well, that'd be neat. That you can get around and you can sleek around and you can do things like that. That would be interesting. But well, what else? But some sort of normality would be something what I'm thinking of, and for that reason, I came up with the idea that I would like to like the whole kind of concept of what the alien suit would be in Anal Man. Okay, now again, although it sounds like a hentai manga, it's not. Okay, it's done by the guy who does the Professional Earth Defense Force, and he's also the guy who made all the things like that, Hakuna no Ken Cinderella story, and the parody manga for Hikaru no Go, which he named Anal no Go. And you can kind of guess what they do with the Go beads on that. Okay, so the concept behind it is that why it would be so interesting in that. And again, this is how I got the name. So again, if you haven't followed the episodes where I talk about hentai mangas and that kind of stuff, then you can go back and check the doujinshis that this guy's written. He's actually pretty funny in that respect. But the concept is simply this: you look at superheroes like Superman and Spider-Man and whatnot. Okay, those guys innately have their superpowers in them, irregardless of what clothing they wear. So he can be he can be wearing Clark Kent's clothes, but he would still be Superman inside, right? People who have to put on clothes and then they get the superpowers, i.e., not exactly Batman, but without his tool belt and all that other stuff, or his the modified armor that's in the for example in the video game, for example, or people like the Greatest American Hero, the Green Lantern, right? Without the ring, or without that the armored or the suit that the aliens gave Ralph, okay, they're really nobodies, okay. So in the same aspect, in the manga Anal Man, the alien is the suit or the armor, okay, and if he comes out of onto the person and surrounds the person that the person has, right? That's while the alien's on the outside wrapping around the person, okay. They get that, okay. Now, unlike Ralph's armor, where he can take it off and put it away, the alien is a part of the person, right? So if you want him to be put away or go back, he has to enter the body in one of the body's openings, okay. Now you can pick any sort of opening, okay, and you can see how slimy and how uncomfortable that may be depending which opening you decide to pick. Well, obviously in the manga, you can kind of guess what opening he decided to use, and I'll leave it at that. Okay, so in that respect, yeah, okay. So if I had to wear something like that, okay, whether it's shall we say it's a Green Lantern's ring or a Ralph's super armor, that kind of stuff, but I had to wear it all the time, then I would then pick something like the alien suit that comes in Anal Man, because the fact that you could theoretically wear normal clothing, you just wouldn't have the protection of it, and if you needed it or wanted it or you wanted to change it, then you could always have the alien come out and change it for you, or give you the powers that you needed for that. So I think I would choose that one for that choice.
We're going to lead up to the part from this one, sort of to the next question, but before we do that,
sure.
If you were to date somebody, a character from anime world, who would it be and why? Who would you date and why?
Okay, so Richard's question basically breaks down to what's your favorite female anime character, sort of thing, right? And in this type of question, the way you break it down is like, okay, first of all, you pick a goddess, okay, so that brings you all your I'm a goddess, your Mamote Shugotens, Senko-san, those type of shows where your girl comes from heaven, okay, so that's one. Your second style is going to be your goal comes from a video game. All right, so i.e., video girl compiler, energy 90 the laminate 40, those type of things. Okay, so that's that style, right? Or you pick a made anime. So I'm thinking things like Steel Angel Kurumi, Mahou Ramadak, heck, even Stainless Knight, for example, would be all examples of that kind of thing. So if I had a choice of that kind of nature, I'd probably pick like Amigatus. Okay, I hope you found that really interesting. Again, I do plan to do more different episodes with Richard because he has a lot to to comment on. And again, if you have any sorts of topics you want to suggest, or you want more elaboration on something, maybe to actually spend an episode talking about a particular concept, by all means, leave a message below, and then I'll make sure the next time I touch base with them, we'll get more on that. Right? So until next time, I will see you again.